So in today's session we will be configuring the EIGRP Authentication and EIGRP Metric. My name is Kedar Dandekar and I am a Cisco certified Internet Network expert in enterprise infrastructure. So if you have any question, then please feel free to mail me on kedarlandekar@nittraining.in. So our first task is to configure the EIGRP. So we have to configure the classic mode in EIGRP AS10 and name mode in EIGRP AS20. So let's start with configuration. So in EIGRP AS10 we are having three routers, router 1, router 2 and router 3. So let's start with router 1. So on router 1 we have to advertise the network 10 and 14. So network 10 and 14. After that on router 2 we have to advertise the network 11 and 15. Now on router 3 we have to advertise the network 14 and 15. 16 is already advertised into the OSP. Router 10, network 14 and 15. So we have advertised it on router 3. Okay. Now in EIGRP AS20 there are three routers 4, 5 and 6. So here we have to configure the name mode. Okay, so let's start with router 5. Enable router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast autonomous system 20, and here on router number 5 we have to advertise the network 12 and 70. 12 and 70. Now router number 6, router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast autonomous system 20. Now on router number 6 we have to advertise the network 13 and 18. Now after that there is router 4. So on router 4 we have to advertise the network 17 and 18. 16 is already advertised into the OSP. So router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast autonomous system 20, network 17.0.0.0 and 18.0.0.0. So 17 and 18. Okay, so we have done the EIGRP configuration in AS10 and AS20. Now our next task is for the EIGRP authentication. So we have to configure the EIGRP authentication. So we have to configure MD5 authentication in EIGRP AS10. So let's configure it in AS10. So let's start with router number 1. So first we have to create the keychain. Let's say NIT T1, key string will be, let's say, NIT 12. After that, now we have to apply it on interface E0/0 and IP authentication mode EIGRP 10 MD5 and IP again authentication keychain EIGRP 10 NEIT. Okay, now same thing on router 2. Keychain NEIT T1 key string NEIT 12. Okay, and now interface is E0/1 IP authentication mode EIGRP 10 MD5 and IP authentication keychain EIGRP 10 NEIT. Same thing on router 3. So keychain NEIT T1 key string will be NEIT 12, and now interface range E0/0 and 1. We have to apply it on both the interfaces E0/0 and 1. So IP authentication mode MD5. So EIGRP 10 MD5 and IP authentication keychain EIGRP 10 NEIT. So for 14 1 hour, okay. Now both the neighborships are up. Let's verify. Show IP EIGRP neighbor. So both the neighborship are up. Show IP EIGRP interface detail include authentication. So we can see that authentication mode is MD5. Now after that we have to configure the MD5 authentication in EIGRP AS20 between router 4 and router 5. Also SHA authentication between router 4 and router 6. So let's start with router 4. So config T. Now the same, we have to create a keychain NEIT key 1 key string NEIT 1 2, and after that now router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast, and now AF dash interfaces E0/0, and now authentication mode MD5 and authentication key string NEIT. Now let's do it on router number 5. So config T key chain NEIT key 1 key string NEIT 1 2, and now router EIGRP NEIT address dash family, and again AF dash interfaces E0/0, and authentication mode MD5 and authentication keychain NEIT. Okay, so the neighborship is up. So if you verify show IP EIGRP interface detail include authentication, so you can see that MD5 authentication mode is MD5, keychain is NEIT. Now between router 4 and router 6, so we have to do the SHA authentication. So now here router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast AF dash interface E0/1 authentication mode SHA 256, and now NEIT let's say 1 2. So we have done this on router 4. Now router 6, same, router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IPv4 unicast, and now the AF dash interface is E0/1. Now authentication mode SHA 256 and NEIT 1 2. So the neighborship is up. Now if you verify it again on router 4, so here you can see that authentication mode is SHA. So we have done the authentication here also. Now our next task is for EIGRP metric configuration. So we have to configure the routers in EIGRP AS10 so that they will only use the delay value for metric calculation. After that we have to configure the routers in EIGRP AS20 so that they will use the delay value twice for metric calculation. Okay. So let's configure first in EIGRP AS10 between router 1, router 2 and router 3. So config T router EIGRP 10 metric wait 0 space 0 space 0 space 1 space 0 space 0. Okay. And enter. Same thing we have to do it on router 2 and router 3. So let's copy this on router 2 also and router 3 also. Here also. So we have done it on both router 1, router 2 and router 3. Okay, so let's check the EIGRP neighborship again. Show IP EIGRP neighbors. So both the neighborships are up, 14.1 also and 15.1 also. Now in EIGRP AS20 we have to use the delay value twice. Okay, so for that on router 4 150 router EIGRP NEIT address dash family IP for unicast. So here metric wait 0 space 0 space 0 space 2 space 0 space 0. So the same thing we have to copy this on router 5 and router 6 150 router EIGRP NIT address dash family, and here we have to paste this. Same, enter. And now on router 6 also 150 router EIGRP NIT address dash family, and here also we are using delay value twice. Okay. So let's check the EIGRP neighborship again on router 4. Show IP EIGRP neighbors. So you can see that the neighborships are up 18.1 and 17.1. Now let's try to ping now from between all the LANs. So let's check that the routing table on routers. Show IP route EIGRP. So here the 12 is receiving, 13 is receiving, 17, 18. So the networks from EIGRP 20 is receiving in EIGRP AS10. Now let's check it on router 5, so that the networks from EIGRP AS10 is receiving or not. So here also the networks from EIGRP AS10 10, 11, 14, 15 and 16 they are receiving in EIGRP AS20. So I have done the redistribution already, so it was pre-configured, so that's why it is receiving from one EIGRP AS to another EIGRP AS. Okay. So now let's try to ping now. So let's try to ping from PC7 to PC8, PC9 and PC10. So we will get the reachability. So PC7 ping 11.1.1.1. So we are getting the reachability. Now again ping 12.1.1.1. So here also we are getting the reachability. Ping 13.1.1.1. So from here also we are getting the reachability. Okay, so we are getting the reachability between all the LANs. Okay, so we have configured the metric values also. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. So if you have any question, then please feel free to mail me on kedarthandikar@nittraining.in. Thank you.